To Vintage Stereo Restorers. Take number 2. On the bench, we have an Electra SA-6600. I had the same amp 4 years ago. It was actually a Sound SA-20. Same amp. This one has a wooden sleeve, which is elsewhere. It had a metal cover. That was about the only difference. I'm just going to swing around, you can see. Nice simple layout. These has the Sansui style switches. Anyway, look, machine aluminum knobs. And this is really all you need. Bass, treble, balance, volume. Your selector has phono crystal 2 inputs and a tape loop, loudness, and mono stereo. That is the perfect combination controls. Don't really need anything more. Let's look at it top side. And this is one of these ones that amazes me. Here it is. Okay, this is circa maybe 71, 72. Not a lot out there about these. Very little. A little bit on Radio Museum. They say 71. But if you look at this one, first of all, it's so clean. There wasn't any ventilation in this cover because these run very, very cool. The outputs are on the outside of the case. So what causes or generates the most heat is outside. Sansui style bias and center voltage controls. It is a little bit of a mystery who built the Sound, AGS, and Electra amps. Electra was a label you saw on Canadian amps. It was a West Coast distributor. That's about all I found out. This is a very familiar looking transformer. I've seen this one in Lafayette's, Kenwood's, Sansui's. If you look at the way it's built, Elna caps almost exclusively except for 2 Oscars. This one has only ever had one thing done to it in all its history, and it still works. I was just listening to it. The controls a little crackly. I cleaned and lubed those, and then I listened to it. And one thing I do is when I first listen to them, it's with headphones. Because with headphones, you kind of pick up any of the noises. You can kind of get an idea what the noise floor is like. You know, you can tap around some of the stages. You know, see if there's anything microphonic. Anyway, this one, it's all original transistors. And this is an all silicon amp. So no germanium transistors, which can be very problematic. Anybody that's worked on them knows what I'm talking about. You might wonder what this little board is here. It's a protection circuit. It's the same circuit as in a lot of Kenwood receivers, late 60s up to about 72. Very interesting. Two SD91s on the outside. That's right, 2 SD92s. I was looking at the picture of my Sound app, it had 91s. So 92s. The rail voltage is 46 volts, and this is not a split power supply. So it's 46 volts, and there's a voltage transistor divider that splits it to 23. So you have a center voltage and bias on the outputs. So anyway, just in listening to this one, I formed a couple opinions on it as to what should be done. Number 1, this power outlet. Somebody plugged something into this. It must have been very tight. When they wiggled it out, the socket's broken. In fact, the hot conductor, you probably can't see on the camera, is less than 1 millimeter from the chassis. It's not touching the chassis, but if it did, it's a dangerous situation. I think I've got another one of these in my parts bin. I'm going to sub one in. The alternative would to be just block it off, but that is a bit of a hazard. Otherwise, like, I'd leave these outputs alone. They're okay. All these small signal capacitors, yeah, I would change those. It's making sound both channels. It's level, but it's a little bit dull sound, a little flat. One interesting design thing, see this little compartment here? That's the phono preamp. Now that's classy. To shield it like that, you end up with a lot, very low noise. And these days you get noise like these LED lamps and stuff. That has a stray field, like about 1 meter, 3 or 4 feet from the lamp. Underneath, one odd little thing. Somebody put a fuse in series with the fuse. Now electrically, that makes absolutely no sense. You've got a 1.5 amp fuse and a 1.6 amp fuse in series. It just doesn't, it's not necessary. Somebody wrote on what is this has been added by somebody. Maybe they had an issue. They were worried about this broken socket causing problems. That circuit is covered by this fuse. It's not really needed. I can take it out of there. Nice short signal path from the outside. I'm just going to throw, just for fun, let's get a little bit of light on this. This is an electrician's capacitance meter. You can use this for checking motor caps and things. It's a newer digital one. I like these. Let's just go. You can test in circuit. There's the main cap, which is a 2200. And where does it end up? It's about 2440. So that cap actually still tests good and it's not bulging. Let's go to the next one in the circuit. Okay, this one is 1000 microfarad and it's about 249. And I found this is very accurate in circuit in testing for capacitance. And here's something I've kind of found with 50 coming up on 60-year-old amps. These caps, many of them will test good. They won't be leaking much. But if you start to use this as your daily driver, they degrade very quickly. It's amazing they lasted that long. So there's, the element of reliability and the element of sound. Anything this power supply is more an element of reliability. Also, another little issue, see these early silicon diodes? No, it's not plugged in. I can touch this. See how the leads are severely tarnished? Yeah, I've had this type here. You can often end up with one of them open. The tarnish goes right into the shell of the diode. One will open up. It will introduce a maybe not even a hum that you can hear, but a low-level hum. And it will actually lower the voltage of the main rail from 46 down. It could be by about 20%, which lowers your power. This unit, with new caps and everything in it, should be able to do 16 watts per channel based on the outputs, based on the voltages. That's what I would say. So I'm going to work on it a little bit, do some recapping, and then we'll talk later. Thanks for watching and listening.